skating at the new year. This is a building that's shared with skating as well as curling, but the quality of the ice, according to all the players so far this week, has been first class, and they're all happy after practice. You mentioned earlier on, Peter, about the fact that we try and encourage young teams, especially young local teams, to get a chance to play, and it's something that Masters has always tried to do, especially in recent years. Any up-and-coming teams from Perth or Scotland, in fact, to give them a chance to play against some of the best teams in the world. And it's part of the event. I think it's crucial to keep going. It's not often you can get a chance to play against world-class rinks without having to travel to other countries. And the junior part of our sport is so important. Perth just now is providing about 25% of the competitors in the junior circuit. So it is still a very strong number of people coming from Perth who are playing. And in fact, last year we had 1,374 school children going through Perth Ice Rink on the curling school programme, which I don't think many other sports could say. They had 1,374 people try out their sport and come back and play again, which is great. So looking forward to it. As you say, we've got Aaron Thompson from Perth, who's been selected for the team.
What club does he play for?
I forget now. It's one of the smaller clubs in town, but he's done very well to come out of such a backward-thinking small club. Airlie White, I believe it is. But,
for those of our international audience, Airlie White Curling Club, my club, are the rival club of David's club, Dunning Curling Club. You can write answers on a postcard, which is the superior club, but I think you can probably tell where our allegiances lie. Anyway, before we get into that one, Team Waddell, they're into their practice for their draw shot challenge now, and this is a team where they've got big ambition. They're wanting to get to the very top. They're talking like they're a young team. They've been around for years. Kyle's played at the very, very top level before as part of the Kyle Smith rink, but they're wanting to break through and take on and knock out really the big fish in Team Mount. That's who they've got their eyes on. They want to be representing Scotland at the international level.
Absolutely, and they're working very, very hard. I mean, this is going to be their 9th event of the season. They're having a very strong season. I would say it's Kyle and Craig's strongest season as individuals playing with their own team. They're both vastly experienced, as you say. The big problem that all the teams have is they're competing against the world-ranked number one team, and he's world-ranked by some distance. I mean, Mouat's team are absolutely outstanding just now, playing the game at a slightly different level from the rest of the world. We've got many good curlers in the world, but these guys are just on their own. So when you come, I think it's a bit like Andy Murray playing tennis, Peter, when he was up against the big guys, Djokovic, Nadal and Federer all at the same time. You couldn't really have come in a worse generation. I kind of feel White and Waddell to some extent as well are facing the same scenario. When you've got Mouat ahead of you, it's difficult to get into the driving seat. But he's competing well, and you never know.
Well, Andy Murray won a few majors amongst all that lot that you mentioned, and you look at your Team Mouat, they were in cruise control going through the European Championships before Christmas, and then just at the last on the final, it didn't go their way. So it can. Everyone is beatable at this very, very top level, and of course the Waddell team. At the moment, they're ranked 14th in the world. If they can maintain that ranking or get up a little bit, they'll qualify for the critical Canadian Grand Slams, which are where you get the big points and you play against the big teams. And so this Perth Masters event is super, super crucial for what they want to do. And we spoke to them just a couple of moments before coming on air, and they didn't really mince the words. They're here to win, nothing else.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And you've got to be realistic when you're a team at Waddell's level. 14th in the world on the season to date is outstanding. Absolutely brilliant results. And as you say, they've got to get in that stay the top 15, top 16 to get the Grand Slams. It's where the kudos is, where the money is, and where the world ranking points are the highest. And they're right on the verge of doing that. So if they have a good run here, they have a good run in the Scottish Championship, and a good run in the Karlstad, they're going to the Karlstad Cup as well later on in the season. These three events, three good results, could see them secure their place in that Grand Slam finals in Toronto.
So interesting, in the practice for the draw shot challenge, both of the Team Waddell stones coming up short. Curiously, the Swiss crew, the ISELI rink, they were long on all of their stones. So the ice proving
Quite a lot of curl on that sheet there. It moved it a lot going down the ice.
One thing that just amazes me in this modern era of curling is just how important the sweeping has become, how critical of the front end, their hours in the gym, their technique, everything behind that, what you can do with the stone, the tunes you can play that you never used to be able to do with the older technique, if you like. It's just amazing, and I would think that's something where Team Mowat, world number one, you look at their front end, they're probably one of the best teams in the world at the way that they can manipulate the stone and what they can do. They're the kind of benchmark.
Yeah, I totally agree, Peter. I mean, you've seen stats when people end up working out the best system of sweeping, etc. Their stats can improve by 10% a game with good sweepers. And as you said, Hammy McMillan and Bobby Lammy and Grant Hardy, I mean, the Team Mowat they're the best team in the world, but they're also probably the best sweepers in the world as well. It doesn't go alone. I mean, you look at those rivals, the Returnas team from Italy. They're Big Mozana. I don't know what the guy is. Probably 6'4", 6'5". He'll be 100 kilos, I'd imagine, and the power and the pressure they can put through the brushes and the effect it has on the stones is dramatic.
He was due to turn up for the Italian rugby team practice, turned up to the wrong place, and they decided to keep him.
He wouldn't be out of place in their second row anyway, that's for sure.
Taylor. And that is removed. Now, explain to us, David, the new centreline rule that came in a few years ago here for. Because in the past it wouldn't be, you could play tick shots and things like that, but how does it work now?
Well, for the first 5 stones of the end in the free. Move them to the side, you can tap them into the house, you can split them, anything you want, but the minute it's touching that line it can't be touched until the 5th stone of the end. Which gives them, a lot of incentive or a higher skill level for the leads. They've actually got to cut the line to make it safe. If they don't, it can be split to open up the front.
I mean, I think that's been one of the best implementations of rules that I can remember in my time playing curling. It's in terms of a spectating proposition rather than crash, crash, crash.
It gives the teams who have lost a big end or had a bad end, whatever happens, a big score goes against them, a chance to get back into the game. Yet it's not a freebie. You've still got to have the skill level of getting it to bite the centre line, which I think is also a good thing. That's the one part about when you watch mixed doubles being played. They're placing stones, which is a little bit alien sometimes to the traditions of the sport, where it was a skill-based.
Both the Waddles heavily influenced by their grandparents, actually, who were the ones who got them curling at the age of 8. Their grandmother Isabel, was bronze medalist back at the World Championships in 1982, and their grandfather Jimmy, European champion in 1979. So that is very much the point of influence for the Waddell boys.
Yep, great curling dynasty, the Waddles based in Hamilton in Scotland. Played against their grandfather on a number of occasions, Peter, which just shows that I'm not 21 any longer. And I played for Scotland when their grandmother was playing for Scotland on a couple of occasions. So, and I hasten to add, I was just starting off at that point.
I told you we had a real expert with us, folks.
You didn't say how old he was, though.
Experienced,
Yeah.
Experienced, yes.
What's happening here is that the
Tidy.
Waddell boys without last stone are trying to get guards up on the centre, and the Swiss boys are having none of it. They're keeping it open. They're aiming to blank the first end. Give them the hammer last stone advantage down the second end, so they would then have the hammer on the even ends, which is always quite a good thing. They would be 4-3 technically on hammers potentially if they could run it through to the end of the end.
Being worked hard with the brooms there. very well swept, well judged, right on the centre line. It's almost like a boxing match with the two prize fighters dancing about, just sizing each other up. We'll get into the real meat of this match in the following ends, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but it just takes one error, doesn't it? That's
absolutely,
all.
yeah. Most of them haven't played a competitive game for a couple of weeks now since the festive break. There hasn't much curling around the world, especially in the four-man game. There's a bit of mixed doubles being played, so they'll be feeling their way back into it a bit as well. You don't want to blow the game in the first two ends, just get a feel for the ice, get a feel for the stones. Every curling stone is slightly different. There's no two stones exactly the same. Made from the finest Eales of Craig granite.
And there's been no opportunity to come in and, as we would say in the rallying world, get an early recce. With the ice being prepared after, we're skating up to the 30th of December.
30th of December, yeah.
So the ice is pretty much freshly prepared for the tournament, so nobody can come in and get an upper hand.
To those of you who are watching are not regular curlers, when ice is being made for curling, and they scrape it with a machine with a very sharp blade to make it absolutely dead level all the way across. And they put a pebble onto it. It's a fine spray of water they put on top, so the stones don't run on the flat of the ice. They sit on top of a pebble, which is 2 or 3 millimetre raised off the flat ice, and otherwise it would never rotate or glide. It would just sit down on the flat ice. With a pebble on it, it helps the stone curl.
It's a different tact there from Team Waddell.
The one, but this is a long shot. The likelihood is it'll be a blank end.
It's a good opportunity for Kyle Waddell to just get a feel of his draw weight too. I mean, we saw that in the European Championships. A few teams, they skip almost terrified to play a draw and played a much more difficult, theoretically hit shot because they hadn't played a draw. So they're almost scared of it. But this gives him a good reference point.
Yep, good confidence builder. Gets a feel for it. Draws into 4 foot. ISELI's boys will try and hit and roll out of the house. To increase the pace, and potentially, if you don't, you could have a stone removed from play as a penalty.
So a blank end then. That will mean that Team ISELI will maintain the last stone advantage, with Marco Hefti doing exactly the job he needed to do: remove the Team Waddell stone and roll away and not stay for 1. Why would you want to score 0 rather than 1? Well, if you score 1, you would then lose the last stone advantage. At this level, taking one with the last stone is never going to win you games, so you've got to wait for a better opportunity. So 0-0 after the first end then. If you want to follow the line scores, you can on perthmasters.com and see how everyone is getting on. Follow your favourite teams, and of course we've got another draw coming up a little bit later on.
4:30 today we have the first round of the ladies event, and then at 8 o'clock this evening we have the second round of the men's event. So curling all day, and Saturday and Sunday here in Perth, and then the giving the ice.
Craig Waddell calling it.
to hack weight, and it's a huge difference if you drop that weight and how the stone runs.
So a little error there from Mark Taylor. Will that punish Team Waddell? Will Team ISELI be able to take advantage?
Nice shot by Max Windsor, hit and roll to the wing. Waddell facing 2 counters without last stone, looking to make a hit and roll here.
So ideally we wanted to hit on the inside of this red beside Kyle Waddell's brush there, and then roll in to hit the stone, the red stone behind, just on the edge of that white circle. And hopefully the ideal 100% shot would be to hold their yellow there as well, but I think we'd be happy with getting rid of both reds if possible.
Even rolling in front of the second red's not a bad shot.
That would be
Craig Waddell trying to make the stone curl as much as possible. Not quite. Good position for ISELI here. If he nose hits here, it makes it a very difficult double, and if they do make a double, they won't stay in the house. So definitely advantage Switzerland at the moment.
It is. It is. Last year the ISELI team finished the season ranked 69th in the world, so on pure ranking points you'd say they are the underdog in this match. But like you said, the first game of the tournament, it can be edgy, there can be upsets sometimes.
No, that's right. I mean, they're further down the rankings than the Waddell boys are, but they're still a competitive team, and they've played around the world for a number of years now.
And their fourth player, Marco Hefti, has played with the Hoseley rink before, who are very highly ranked, up at the top 10 in the world, so he knows what it's like to play at the very, very highest level too. Good guy to guide the team and to play those critical anchor stones.
Yeah, most of the players and most of the teams in this event are here because they are serious competitive curlers. They don't travel from around the world just for a fun event. They're here for 2 things, to win the event and to get world ranking points.
Yeah, he's looking a little bit on the inside here. It's going to maybe catch it a little bit skiddy. No.
How far is it going to go? Nice shot.
That's pretty good.
Really good try.
Yeah, good shot there from Craig Waddell. That steadies the ship a little bit. Just asks Team ISELI a few more tough questions.
You can see a good part of that, seeing a good half of the stone from the hack. This is where Mark Taylor had the miss by throwing a little bit too much weight here. At the same time, if you drop your weight, it will curl a lot at the end, so they've got to get the weight and the line. Marco Hefti holding the brush for Jan ISELI. They're sweeping on the outsides, they're trying to get this to curl. This is where Taylor's didn't finish the way they'd hoped it would do. Looks like he's going to get to it.
Great work with the broom there. Is that last red going to grab a piece? Yes, it is.
Yep.
So that again asks a big question of Team Waddell. Kyle Waddell skip going up to play his first stone of this second end. That was big work there on the brush from the Swiss team. And that's something again, when if you learnt to play curling 15-20 years ago, you were taught if you sweep it to keep it straight and or to make it go faster. But the game's changed completely now. When you hear the team shout curl, that's actually to get to sweep in a certain direction to help the stone actually curl more.
Exactly, and that's why he was sweeping that stone down. It had a bit less weight than Mark's. You see it curled a lot at the end because it was missing it at the hog line completely. Came down, hit half the stone. Kyle Waddell trying an out turn double. Gets one, gets two, and stays. Nice shot. Really good shot.
If you were doing the stats, that would get at least 99%, might even get 100%, depending if they're feeling generous or not. But yeah, exactly what was the shot, what was called for, and just brings things a little bit under control. Now, who was it that said that a blank might be less likely? Oh, it might have been me, but if that's maybe looking a bit more likely now, with that Yellowstone just hanging on, it'll be quite tricky for the Swiss team to hit and stick here.
Ends can change quickly, but at one point the Swiss boys were looking like they were in a little bit of trouble. Then they did a run back double takeout, and it all changed round almost instantly.
This is why we love this sport.
He'll want to make sure he hits and stays here, otherwise it'll give Team Waddell a chance to use their centre guard. It was thrown up in the very first stone of the end.
Marco Hefty playing a pretty controlled weight, a very nicely controlled weight, which you see a lot now at this level, and just working it with the brooms as and how they wish. Very well played there. Yep. It's about a textbook example of how to play that kind of shot. You know, if you've young up and coming curlers, they always tend to want to smash it into the car park, but it's not the right way. Playing it with that nice controlled weight, being able to hold the shooter as where you want it, very, very important.
The thing is, you've got a much bigger target area, Peter, doing that. If you were coming up there at full strike weight, you're aiming about 4 centimetres in the middle of the stone to keep it in play. Playing that weight there, you're suddenly aiming at 10 centimetres. So as a control system and a way of playing the game, it's a much more structured way of doing it.
So last stone then for Kyle Waddell, a 31-year-old from Hamilton and Thornyhill Curling Club. Playing a little bit more weight than Marco Hefty did here.
They're swimming to keep it straight, so you can't be far away.
That is a fantastic shot there from Kyle Waddell. Well, he told us before the game they're here to win this tournament, and if those two shots are anything to go by, that's certainly a signal of intent. Really, really well played. The shooter landed exactly where they'd like it. Makes it quite tricky to pull a blank here then for Team ISELI.
Absolutely. Double takeout in his first, hit and roll the second. So often you see the skips that they can turn an average end into a great end by making a couple of big shots themselves. This is not an easy blank here. He's got you'll see 2 or 3 centimetres of the stone, but not much more. He's just trying to touch the edge of the yellow stone and take out of the rings and roll out himself. That guard comes into play here. Playing the same controlled weight again.
Sweeping calls here, so important. So important as the stone comes down, just gets past the guard. Has it got enough weight to roll out? It does just about. That's beautifully played there by Marco Hefty. That was a very difficult blank to make, but he makes it. So no blood drawn yet then between Kyle Waddell and Jan ISELI. 0-0 after 2 ends, with ISELI keeping their last stone advantage there, and an acknowledgement from Greg Waddell there to Marco Hefty saying a very good shot.
Good end. Waddell threw down the challenge to him, made the nice double takeout, and he made a hit and roll to behind the centre guard. But as you say, Peter, Marco Hefty was up for the challenge, but I would say the encouraging thing for the Swiss boys is he played it at a controlled weight. There was never much doubt that he was going to make that. Hit and roll to blank the end. So no score after 2 ends.
So update on our other games. You can follow line scores on perthmasters.com, but Team Klima are 1-0 up against Team Ukraine. And across the sheet, Team Brunner 2-0 up after 1 end against Team Horst Meligen. Everyone else also ending up with a blank end to start with. You can also go on curlingzone.com as well, a very popular site, and I have to say, if you're a curling commentator, it's a heck of a cheat sheet in one, actually. So great job by the folks at Curling Zone, made my job for preparing quite a bit easier.
Here's me thinking, Peter, you knew all these guys personally with all their life histories coming out here, but you know, Jerry Gertz and his crew do a brilliant job of keeping the world enlightened in what's happening in curling.
And that access to the sport is critical. You know, when you've got people who are, you know, at the club level getting into the sport and want to watch top players, having that resource online to be able to watch the best teams in the world, it's fantastic stuff. Really, really good. So, a centre guard thrown by Team Waddell, and Team ISELI go right around it. So, looks like we're going to have another nip and tuck end here.
You see the difference from the previous end, Peter, when Waddell went with a long guard just over the hog line. ISELI then threw a corner guard. This time he's thrown what we call a tight guard almost into the red circles. He then comes round the centre guard because he feels it's less of it's just too high a risk going out with the corner guard. It would give Waddell a strong position to have used that one. He wasn't threatened by the guard the previous end because it was so long. Pretty good shot.
Old corner freeze there from Gavin Barr. Now both teams, it's not taken them long to get a handle on what the weight of the ice is, and the draw shot challenge, it looked a little bit tetchy, a little bit nervy, but it doesn't take long for players at this level to get on top of it. Sometimes I'd go home after a game of curling thinking I didn't get the weight the whole game there. Maybe next time.
It's your sweepers, Peter. It wasn't you. You were great.
No. We've got the highest quality sweepers in the White Curling Club, and you should try it. It's great. In fact, I'm outnumbered in the commentary team. Alan Hanna, he's a Dunning member. James Davidson, Ultrada. Am I the only early white member?
I would think so.
I feel very proud saying that.
I would think so.
Thank you. So what's the score here?
Iceland just a little bit light. They were trying to come round that and didn't make it round it. And Waddell is actually trying to, I suspect, run this red back onto his yellow and take them both out if he can. It's pretty close. Like that, to slacken up the centre. That's not bad. Got control stones. The yellow ones out in front, whilst they're not scoring, are very, very useful as the end goes on. You can either draw around them or you can use them to run back.
We saw that in the previous end, didn't we, with ISELI Rink using the stone from the front, driving it into the house and using it to make the moves that they wanted to. Really tense opening game here.
It is. There's really a bit of cat and mouse. So just who's going to break ranks first and try and gamble.
They're working this very hard, trying to keep the stone straight and then off, so that Jan ISELI happy, and then back on. That's always a good sign.
Another nice shot.
Team ISELI are up for this.
They are. They're playing very well.
Interestingly, Kyle Waddell calling for an out turn here, so having to take it quite tight to the to that stone at the top of the 8 foot there. Interesting handle to play. You've got to be very precise.
Can he hold it straight enough? I don't think so. His nose hit it. Yep, he was hoping to hit and roll in behind the centre guards there, but on the out turn hand there, it does curl more coming off the centre line. Ice looks good though, Peter. Nice surface and a lot of good shots being played across all the games.
Yeah, fantastic. And as we saw in the previous end, if you are too heavy, it's not going to, you're not going to be able to do anything with it. You've got to be precise. You've got to be on it. And I think that's the type of ice that these level of players want to to play on.
You don't want ice that you can throw any weight and make the shot. It just reduces the skill level. On ice like this, where weight and line is crucial, it then means a lot more. Again, not far away. Left it in the open. The problem for Kyle Waddell is he can't get to that top stone and roll behind cover. He can take it out, but he can't get in behind cover, which means he's always on the back foot with that one.
So might just have to play a slightly quieter weight here. This is Craig Waddell's first stone of this end.
Playing the third end of the game, but it's the second time that Waddell's been chasing the end a bit. Last end he was doing the same. He was chasing against Swiss stones. And can Craig roll under cover here? I don't think so. Staying in the open again.
They're struggling to get it. They're struggling to get it to curl at that point.
He played a different rotation that time. He played the counterclockwise rotation, or the out turn as we call it in curling terms, whereas the previous shot Mark Taylor played the clockwise rotation. No, sorry, the other way around, wasn't it?
They tried both handles,
they tried both, but it was the other way around. It was Waddell played the clockwise, so it was a straighter hand, because Taylor swung a lot at the end.
So ISELI, team skip but playing third stones, left-hander.
He's looking to make contact in this.
Trying to work the directional sweeping a little bit. Just staying fairly straight down that track. So Waddell going for or discussing a slightly different tact here, possibly. Is he?
It's the option of a thin double or a hit and roll in behind. I think he's favouring the hit and roll in behind. Yep. We'll try and make contact with this red one. So we look at it just inside the centre and roll onto the 4-foot circle. Right, in the words Perth curling would be ideal.
With the brooms, trying to manipulate that line as best as they can. This looks much better. And that's just a shade thin, a shade heavy there for Craig Waddell. Such a finesse shot. You've got to get the weight just right, the line just right.
Just underswept it a fraction. That was the least weight we've seen thrown down that line. It did finish a bit more curl, and just got caught out by that. That's unlucky.
Yeah. Very fine margins, very, very fine margins there. So now ISELI has an opportunity to sort of
hit and check out to the left here, but he doesn't want to come in behind the guards, otherwise it will give backing for the Waddell team to draw against. He's going to hit this and check out to the left, almost where the brush is, to stop them coming. If he hits and checks to the right, where Craig Waddell's hat is just now, then the Waddell team would come round, Kyle would come round and draw against it, and it would kill the end for a big score for the Swiss. Have still got control here. If they hit and roll out to the left, it'll make it tough for Waddell.
So it's this
last stone's always what you hope to get two or more with multiple scores with having the last stone.
So is this the potential breakthrough point then for Team ISELI? Can they get this? But it's running very close to the top guard, and it's going to wreck on the guard. Oh, a mistake. A mistake then for ISELI, and all of a sudden Team Waddell, brothers Kyle and Craig, licking their lips slightly at this opportunity.
How quickly things can turn around. A little bit light on weight. He was just not much more than T-high weight there. With that lighter weight it curled more, touched the centre guards, rolled them both into the house. And now gives Waddell a great chance here to take out the red and check behind the centre guard. Leaving Marco Hefty with a bit of a problem.
Well, that good form he's had so far in the first couple of ends, he'll need to draw upon it, because whatever happens here, really, he's going to be coming against a fairly hefty presence of yellow stones, of Team Waddell stones. So Kyle Waddell. Plays another peach.
Just gets past the top guard.
Did what he needed to do there.
Decision time. Do you chase the top one and make Waddell face second and third shots, or do you come to the back one? The problem with coming to the back one is Waddell follows you down and again either forces one or potentially steals one. So
this is the first big discussion we've seen where each member of the, we've seen both ISELI and Hefty, in fact all three members of the team having a discussion here of what to do. As we said, no time clocks to worry about, but we'll catch the irk of the umpire if things go on a little bit longer. But this is perfectly normal to take a good discussion over this type of situation, because if you get this right, you can gather the momentum and potentially come away with a good score. If you get it wrong, you could put yourself in a big problem. And of course, 8 end games, not 10 like we see at the at the Europeans or World Championships. And I think it's funny, if you get behind early in an 8 end game, you're in such deep trouble.
Yep, only 5 ends to go after this one, so you don't really want to start getting too far behind. I think he's looking to hit and check inside here. At one point, he did look about coming across the face on the out-turn rotation and driving the yellow onto the yellow. You have to get very close to the guard to do that.
Marco Hefty's been very strong so far. A very important stone in this third end. Playing an out turn, sort of heavy hack, barrier weight. Yeah, up to barrier weight, I would say.
Can't be far away because they're on off for the sweeping.
I always think that's always a good sign.
Nice shot. Played that well. It was always going to be the
a big thank you as well to those watching on YouTube, on the Perth Masters YouTube channel, from BBVG. Said, hello, thanks for the coverage, you're very welcome, thank you for tuning in. Just for info, ISELI is pronounced easily. Well, there we go. We've probably had about 6 different pronunciations, but easily, that's easy. Easily, there we are. That's easy to pronounce. Thank you very much. Keep your comments coming in on the YouTube stream. Great to hear from you all. It's Perth Masters time. Forget Christmas. That's not what the big excitement's about. It's when Christmas is coming around, you think that's only a week to the Perth Masters. So great to hear from you all.
That's if you live by a curling calendar, Peter.
Is there any other calendar, really?
So that was a good shot. He played that really well. He did give Waddell the chance. The other option for Waddell was to come round the out turn to top of the 4-foot to lie 2 here, but he decided to make this run back, which is relatively straightforward and easy, which will then force Marco Hefty to make a draw shot against 2. So tramp the yellow one to the red.
So both Gavin Barr, Mark Taylor working the brooms hard. Stone's just starting to curl a little bit at the end here. So you're going to catch it a little bit on the thin side. Oof. Oh, that's a big error. That's a big error from Kyle Waddell, I have to say. I did not expect that. And that gives an open hit for a 3.
For 3, absolutely.
Wow. Well, that's 2 ends in a row now. We've had 3 different changes of control back and forth between both teams, but a critical error at
Kyle will be disappointed with that. That was a poor shot. It looked like right out of his hand he was a little tight for line, and as soon as it started to curl, it was off. He couldn't hold it. By his standards, that wasn't a difficult shot.
You hadn't missed one up to then, but you only need to miss one at this level. And
Hefty taking a lot of ice here. He's Sweeping hard for line now.
Taking a lot of ice, but they're trying to get it to stay straight as it's coming down towards the top of the head now.
Yep, no
Here
problem.
it comes. Three.
Makes the shot.
3 to team ISELI, I think.
Yep.
Well, so a shock end here then in third end out of 8. Team Waddell go 3 down against ISELI. Well,
Big
drama.
big turnaround. Good end of curling again though. Been a lot of good shots played there.
And I think it comes down to this, the rule of having that centre guard rule where you cannot remove a centre guard. It just makes the game so much more exciting to watch. It's a game of 8 or even 10 ends can just disappear like that. It makes it so entertaining. The players are always on the course. They've always got to keep playing, and one mistake and you can be in a really, really troubled spot. And that is exactly what happened there. I mean, big shock there for Kyle Waddell, and well, puts them on the back foot. 5 ends to go, 3 down. They've got to make something happen quickly here. Have Team Waddell.
Yeah,
Team ISELI into control.
Going to have to be aggressive now, not be any negative tactics. Going to have to take it on. Just wonder, was there an opportunity there? I'm pretty sure if it was Bruce Mowat, it would come round that centre guards to lie 2 as opposed to line 2 and giving the guy a free draw. You know, if you make that draw into the top 4 foot, ice is curling a lot. Make him face 2. He's got to play a really tough shot to get his 1 then. But behind the glass, Peter, you and I have never missed a shot.
No, very true. That's so true. When you're watching,
It's a whole different story when you're out there.
yes. Been watching a lot of the World Darts Championship over the last couple of weeks, and you think, oh, well, how's he missed 3 shots at double 10? And then you have a few throws on your own dartboard, and you go, okay, that's why. That's why. Yeah, it's such fine margins at this level. That's why it's always a pleasure to watch.
Who's your money on the big game tonight? Littler?
I think he's got a gear that nobody else has. Like Littler, I think. And Gavin looked a little bit shaky yesterday. But I won't see it. I'll be here commentating on the real thriller at 8 o'clock between Eve Stalker and Oren Carson. So join us for that. We'll allow you 2 screens if you've got enough screen real estate at home. Have one up on each screen.
Split screen coverage, surely, minimum.
Yeah. Turn your front room into a sports bar. I always find that when you go to the sports bars in America or Canada, I can't concentrate on one screen.
Pick your event from round the bar. Yeah.
And stick to it. So Team ISELI, they're bringing both their opening stones into the house here. Team Waddell, they're ignoring them completely, going for corner guards.
I'm interested to see how this end pans out now. Waddell really needs to score multiple points here. He has the hammer, and he wants for the first time in the game, and he'll want to make sure he's on the scoreboard with a minimum of a 2, hoping for more than that. But if he gets 2, forces 1, gets 2, forces 1, that'll be his strategy at the moment. He doesn't have to go do anything too daft, but he got to make a couple of more shots. He had a bad one there at the last end himself, and Mark Taylor had a miss at the second end. Just not quite sharp enough at this stage. We're seeing a guard coming down here a little bit shorter than he wanted, but not bad. With the curl nice here, Peter, if the guards are too long, it's too easy for the opposition to come round and remove the stones from play. You want them where that first guard was on the right hand side. Look at it now, a metre short of the rings, because you can come round that and hide completely. Swiss boys can't remove the yellow stones at this stage, the guard stones, until the 5th stone's played, which is now. So after this they can remove guards. 3 up in a 5-end game.
They've got to be delighted with the way that it
Absolutely.
started. I mean, that was a late Christmas present for Team ISELI, and one I don't think they would have expected at all. Particularly the way that Kyle Waddell had started off the game, played some great shots, particularly at that kind of weight too. It was a big surprise, but it's what can happen sometimes.
And this is where the mental part of the game in curling comes quite a big factor. You know, I'm pretty sure Marco Hefty would be standing there as Kyle Waddell was sliding out thinking, what's my draw? Wait, I'm going to have to put an out-turn draw against 2 here. Then 2 seconds later, oh my goodness, I've got to tap back for 3. So it's like a golfer saying, I've got to hit this 300 yards down the middle. Oh no, suddenly I've got to play a chip shot onto the green or sink a 2-foot putt. And it's quite a big part of curling, the mental adaptation from one shot to the other.
Change the cassette in the brain.
Yep.
So good removal there from Mark Taylor. And Craig Waddell communicating with someone behind the glass here. It's not us, ladies and gentlemen. We're in a slightly different position. And I think actually it's to the coach to bring one of the blinds down on the windows. It's very bright and sunny.
There's a shaft of light coming through from sunny city of sunny Perth today. Cold day here in Perth, 0 degrees this morning and bright sunshine outside, nice winter's day.
A light dusting of snow.
Light dusting of snow, exactly. Oof. Poor shot. First mistake of the game by the Swiss boys, really.
What that does, it effectively just leaves a corner guard there. It doesn't necessarily matter when it's that long what colour it is, which team stone it is, it's there. So is this the opportunity now for Team Waddell to come in and strike and to use that guard on the right hand side of the shot there to come in behind it? Will they want to be just in front of the tee here, would you say, David?
Ideally, absolutely, yep.
So opportunity for Mark Taylor, champion of the 2021 WCT Latvia International Challenger Championship. Great
Seeking
place
for weight
to
here.
visit. They're swapping back and forth on the brushes, so it's just maybe a little bit on the high side again, or is it going to take a wick off the red? It is actually got a slightly fortunate there.
It looks like they could still be seeing a bit of it though, or a good bit of it.
Yeah, I can.
See enough to make contact for certain.
Yeah. So ISELI easily, tapping the shoulder, so going for a fairly firm weight, strike weight. Maybe not
See up, playing the scoreboard, just going to peel up.
Don't take any chances.
And I think they were talking, if there was a fraction tight and he caught the yellow, you want to make sure you open it up, so he's playing a control weight probably.
Starting to curl quite heavily here. Is it going to wreck on the guard? I think it is. It is. So a mistake from Jan ISELI. Well,
I think it was a little tight of line all the way down at the end. They actually tried to make it curl more to catch more of that stone to try and make sure the shooter stayed in the house, but they were kind of in between by that time.
so Team Waddell now going to try and remove this red stone from Team ISELI and then just roll across, try and get some sort of cover if they can. Also try and get those 2 stones nice and level, those 2 yellow stones level, so that they can't both be removed at the same time.
Stripping hard for line here, it's starting to curl a lot.
Going for the draw actually, excuse me. They're having to work it very hard to try and get it past the guard, and it's not.
That was more weight rather than line. He was going to really struggle to have enough weight to get there, and slightly less weight, took more curl, rubbed the guard. Not a good shot because he's actually ended up rolling across and half checking the Swiss stone on top of the 4 foot.
Quite a few mistakes starting to creep in on both sides here. Which will be the most? Which team will it cost the most?
Well, right now, game control is very much in favour of ISELI. It's pretty much up to Waddell to put the pressure on and make good shots to force their way back into the game, but that wasn't one of them.
No, they've kind of got to be not perfect from here on in, but pretty close to try and make things happen. Waddell calling for a freeze for their Yellowstone, just in that little pocket where his brush is there. Try and make things happen a little bit later on in the end.
This is what happens as you go 3 behind. The degree of difficulty of your shots often goes up a lot as well. This is not an easy shot. He's got to get in here and freeze right into the pocket, or at worst tap the one on the centre line back a couple of inches to square them off to prevent his from being removed.
I always think this is where the really top, the very, very best players in the world, if they go down early, they can recover, and they've got that extra gear to be able to do that. I always thought Eve Muirhead was fantastic at that, to be able to get out of some sticky situations. I'm sure you've seen some sticky situations as well in your career, David, where they're able to do that.
Yeah, it's a bit light on that one. Yeah, you're right, but it's just a case of trying to think your way through it and not being too desperate straight off the bat, because the temptation is to try and get a 4 back. You drop a 3, got to get a 4 back. You don't, you've got to make sure you score a 2. You cannot afford to lose a score against you here. So there's a couple of things you've got to do is take your time, think clearly and make the shots. Craig rubbed the guard with his first one. He's come up short on that one. He's putting no pressure onto the Swiss boys at all, so it's going to have to be a skip to the rescue here if we're going to score here. ISELI just wondering whether to take the yellow guards off or throw another red guard in front of his reds, which I think would probably be what they're looking at just now.
Interesting front end, getting involved in the discussion here, trying to find out exactly where it needs to be. So yeah, Max Vin's coming down to just have a quick chat with Jan ISELI to just make sure everyone's exactly on the right page, because with the finesse required with sweeping, it's very, very important for the sweepers to know exactly where they're wanting to catch it, exactly where they want it to sit. So Marco Hefty's played well so far, and again, when they had that shot for 3, he took it with both hands in the previous end and put them in control of this opening draw of the 2025 Mercure Perth Masters.
Let's try and put in turn guard. Sitting high just now.
The directional sweeping coming across that diagonal action.
Yep.
Need a bit of help with the weight as well here. It starts to come now.
If he doesn't make the rings, have the Waddell boys got yellow onto the reds? Is that possible to run that back?
Certainly to get one, at least one of them, if not with a big weight, potentially both.
Yep.
I always think it's, again, with the top level players, there's always a shot. If it's actually physically possible, they can make it happen somehow.
Yeah. Yep.
Even if you think it's highly improbable, it's amazing how many times you can be completely shot.
Especially on these run back shots with a big weight and directional sweeping, a combination of both these things makes most things possible.
I'll never forget the shot that Ross White played in the final last year, the raise across the ice to get the perfect run into the centre of the house to win the end. It was one of the best shots I think I've ever seen.
So try and drive red back onto the 2 reds that are together on the top of the 8 foot.
Big weight here from Kyle Waddell. It's going to move some granite.
It's close. Whoa, what a shot.
Oh, it's a shot.
What a shot.
And all of a sudden, the end looks a lot brighter for Team Waddell. One shot.
Yep, the 2's back on again, potentially.
And you mentioned it a few times, Dave, the mental side of the sport. The last stone that Kyle Waddell played was a total disaster.
Yep.
And then, bang, right back on form.
That's why there's always quite a lot of similarities between golf and curling, because you make a shot, then you've at least a few minutes before you play again. End of curling, you play your 2 stones, and you could have 15 minutes before you play it again. That's 15 minutes thinking time.
It's a lot of time in your own head, isn't
Or
it?
15 minutes for your keep your head under control. But joking apart, it is, you stand up and hit your drive down the middle, the other guy hits, you have to walk for 5 minutes before you get your shot type thing, then you go again with a different shot. You're playing a driver to an iron to a wedge or a putter. We're doing run backs or takeouts or draws, so everything is different, and it's the thinking time in between. Whereas other sports that are either contact sports or full activity all the way through is a different mindset. Good shot, good run back double. Waddell boys are facing one.
Or a blank.
He'll want to hit and roll out here.
Yeah, a one's not going to do it.
No.
When you're 3 down, and that'll be at the halfway mark. Hitting out.
The half-time team talk's quite straightforward for the Waddles. Keep doing the same and eliminate the misses, because it's just a couple of misses that have cost them dearly.
Yeah, they were very severely punished in that previous end. And Team ISELI they've been right there, and they've made it clear from the outset and say we are here to beat you guys. They might be higher up the rankings, they might not have necessarily the results behind them, but they're here to put on a show, and they've certainly done that. So big weight here, taking no chances. Kyle Waddell clears the board, and it's a blank 10. So at the halfway point then, a slight surprise, you could say. Team ISELI lead the way 3-0 with 4 shots, 4 ends done, 4 to go, and Team Waddell, half-time team talk, as you say, is they've kind of got a whole. Not an issue. Some of the other games, Team Thompson 2-1 up against Eve Stock, a great start for them. Team Host Milligan are currently trailing Team Brunner 3 shots to 1. Team Totchek they scored a 2 in the third end. They're playing against the Ramsville rink. They're just coming towards the end of their 4th end at the moment, and it's 3 shots to 2, Ramsville versus Totchek. The Chinese team, Team Chu, they are 3 shots to 0 up on Team GB Universities, with Aaron Thompson skipping. Team Klima are 3 shots to 1 up on Team Ukraine, and it's 2 apiece in the Dutch-Japanese showdown, Spitz versus Morozumi. So keep an eye out, curlingzone.com, perthmasters.com, keep an eye on the line scores of how the other matches are going, but we focus on the Waddell and Team ISELI showdown as 4 ends down, 4 ends to go. A huge thank you as always to our sponsors. Mercury Hotels have been a long-standing partner of us here at Perth Masters, and we thank them for their support as well. If you're coming to join us here in our beautiful fair city, the City Mills is one of the best hotels you can enjoy, the best actually, and enjoy the historic hotel that they have there, and they've been a big supporter holding the annual dinner as well. Live Active Leisure, who provide the facility here, the Scottish Deer Centre too, great day out for all the family, and A&B Taxis, one of the biggest parts of the Perth Masters experience is coming to take part in the social aspect and enjoying a few drinks if you so wish, but you should never drive home from that, so give A&B Taxis a call and they will drive you home quickly and safely. So back to the action then. Kyle Waddell trailing by 3, and Jan ISELI following a similar pattern to the previous end, putting 2 stones in play early, trying to just take control and keep it nice and clean and tidy, not let the end slip away from them when they've got that lead.
Waddell this time having a change of tactics. He's, rather than putting up 2 corner guards, he's decided to come round the first one stone placement here is pretty crucial, Peter, because at some point he has to move these two reds. He doesn't want to leave an angle where, by removing them, they would jam into the stones when he removes them. So, pretty good effort there from Gavin Barr, just sticking out a little bit, enough for the Sandro Francini to catch the edge of this possibly. In fact, it's Max Wince's turn now. He's playing second stones, working hard to keep it straight. Looks close to the guard though. Cannot remove the guard from play until the fifth stone of the end has been played, so that's replaced.
Both
skips have to agree roughly where the stone goes. I think it would be. I think it was a little bit more further across. It was covering more of that stone. You couldn't see that much of it.
No, definitely not. No, this is where we need like they have on the snooker, where they
That's
replace
right.
the ball after after a safety shot.
Yep, well done both teams, no disagreement, they agree where the replacement's been put back. You can sometimes see a little mark in the ice where the stone's been sitting for a few seconds, and they can often replace it back onto that mark, depending on the light, how it's shining.
So an opportunity now then for Team Waddell to try and start to build an end, try to get back in touch in this game. A 2 would do that, 3 would be ideal. But as you say, they can't chase it too hard. They've got to just stick to their guns.
Looking to come round here this time and get behind the guard. Perhaps not, he's decided to double guard it instead.
So
Not
they
bad,
must. They
not
really
bad,
like
yep.
where that yellow on the top of the 8 foot is, and you know, you've always played the right shot when the opposition go to clear it out of the way. You know, it's done its job. So Team ISELI are going to try and remove some granite. Big weight here from second Mac Vince. Oh.
What a shot.
Well,
What a shot. That was always on. It was possible to do that. To make that, it's quite unbelievable. It was a triple. Peter, you looking shocked, but again, if you play for Dunning, you find that's routine, you know? Okay.
I'm not sure some of the results you've had this season, Dave, from what I can see.
Yeah. So anyway, pressure back on Waddell again. 3 down the game, 4 ends left, and that was a bit of a blow to the solar plexus. He had a good end set up there, but he's going to have to rebuild again.
And I guess the percentage chances of that shot being pulled off in the way it's just been are fairly slim.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to take that on the chin, don't you?
I think the double on the guards was always looking like being pretty much on, but to get the angle to pick up the third stone as well, move it by a fraction, even that holds on by a millimetre at the side, it would have given Waddell a good chance to get his 2, whereas now he's chasing it again, unfortunately, for him.
Team ISELI are not giving them much of a look in. They're not giving Team Waddell that opportunity to start building an end and taking control.
Playing a really strong game.
If they can keep this form up, they could be a surprise package in this 2025 Mercury Perth Masters. And by my reckoning, we are guaranteed to have a new champion in the men's draw at least.
100%.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
100% we are,
yeah, of course, Team Mout have won it the last 4 years in a row. But not here this time.
Kyle ignoring the red stones lying in the house and asking his teammates to come round in the out turn. Round the centre guard, a very long guard. His brother Craig's going to try and come round here. We're looking just to bite the top of the house. He's not even worried about lying short here. It's about getting the stone behind cover. Has to be in the rings. Super's working it hard here. Nice shot.
Last little bit of finish there from Gavin Bart. Directional sweeping, very well placed there from Craig Waddell.
Again, he doesn't have to score huge numbers. He must score at least a 2 though. Score 2, force 1. Score 2, force 1 will be their mentality going into the second half of the game here.
Yeah.
Swiss boys worried they can see the yellow stone, they can hit it, but they could drive it onto the red one.
And I guess their whole mantra in the second half of the game is keep it clean and tidy. You know, if they lose a 1 or even a 2, they're still leading, so you know they can afford to keep it a bit cleaner.
They would love to force Waddell into having to take one and get the hammer
Oh,
back.
that's
be
the dream
ticket
That
for
is
them,
the dream
you know?
ticket. Yeah, yeah. But of course, there's a level of aggression required to do that.
Yeah, it's all about risk and reward, isn't it? Depends. Some teams are willing to take that chance, other teams don't. But often, if you do take that chance and it comes off, it's game-winning chances you're looking at.
So Skip Jan ISELI playing his first stone. He's caught the guard. He's caught the guard. Now Team Waddell, what to do?
He's frightened by taking the red out that's there. He always doing setting up a double, and he's looking for more than a minimum of 2. He's going to come out and try and get Craig to freeze the wing. Yellow is biting onto the edge of the house in the wing. It's a tough shot,
Isn't it? You know, when you see that the stone that's sitting out of the house there, almost out of the sheet completely, you think that that's a nothing stone, that's not important, but actually it can be, if it's within touching distance, it can be played upon, and that's exactly what they're going to do here.
He's also trying to tempt them into playing a double, the yellow onto the yellow that's been played just now, and that one, the wing that we're looking at on the left hand side, would be a catcher, and also the red in the middle will be also a catch for the double, but he's looking to hit the third shot here.
So first stone now for Marco Hefty, who's been strong so far. He's obviously still feeling the cold because he's still got the big black puffer jacket on. I like Craig Waddell wearing the dark black cap. I have to say I've switched to wearing a cap playing curling now, as I'm a bit more follically challenged than I used to be.
Temperature control, Peter.
Exactly.
If he hits this in the nose, he won't lie 2, but he'll prevent a double takeout. If he was to hit and check in 2 lie 2, he may set up a double. And that's why they've just come down. There you go, dead level, no double
Dead
possible.
Saving grace though is that Team Waddell, they are sitting second shot.
Yes, if he nose hits this, it's a very thin double. If he hits and rolls to the right, it's an easier double, and if he hits and rolls to the left, it's an easier double still. So going across there would then leave a slash double on the 2 yellows. Got to be fairly precise here. This is not, it's an easy shot to remove the red, but it's where your shooter goes to is the key thing.
That was an excellent shot from Marco Hefti. I mean, you couldn't leave those two reds any more level if you tried.
And he knew that he wasn't going to lie to you. He wasn't worried. He's 3 up in the game. They've got to score 4 to get past him. This is not easy. The further you roll, Peter, the harder it is to control it. So he's talking about hitting that red and rolling right across till 9 o'clock as we look at it, which is fine, but then you leave the yellow on top of the 8 foot to drive back onto it. You'd have thought that if you can get it right, the hit would stick right on the nose. You'd still leave a very flat double.
And in that case, if you were going to nose the red sitting on the centre line right now, as it heading off the yellow into your own red.
See what
tricky.
he does here.
It's very, very tricky.
Yep.
Yeah.
Playing a control weight here, I suspect. Won't be too fast so they can get a chance to use the brushes.
So Kyle Waddell, very important stone here, the former Boost National champion.
On off for the sweeping, it must be close.
It's always a good sign, isn't it?
Where's it rolling to? Starts to get it across there.
Waddell really working it hard to try and manipulate, move across.
Yeah, very good shot. Very good shot.
I don't know how much else he could have done there, really.
No, that's a great
really
shot.
impressive stuff. And this curling can be a cruel sport sometimes. Kyle Waddell's probably, he could be standing there going, "I've played one bad shot and we're 3 down. How's this happened?" You know, it's. But Team ISELI, they've just maybe not. They've made mistakes, but they haven't made them at the absolute critical points.
And I think the main thing is Marco Hefti's made next to no mistakes, and that's been the big thing in their team.
True. Yeah, you can see why he was.
Unfortunately, that's the joys of skipping. You make one mistake in the game, you can shoot 90%, but that one mistake can be crucial.
So you get it's the glory, but you also get the other side of it too.
This is the risk reward. There's always this chance of setting up this double. Not easy. What's happening with this? Has he got the double? Is it coming down? Nope.
No, so
Wow.
a draw, a wide open draw then for Kyle Waddell, and he wastes no time. In fact, he can't wait to get back to the hack and deliver this stone because he knows he's going to back himself 99 times out of 100 to draw 2. He's got the full 8 foot and a little bit more here.
Just got to be fully in the house. I mean, he's played a good end, the Waddell team. Remember that early on, the Swiss boys, I think it was Max Wintz had a run back, double takeout and cleared the guard at the same time. So they've hung in well.
So this would change the complexion quite a bit. Team ISELI looked like they were really starting to turn the screw, and now Team Waddell with a 2 here bring themselves right back into play.
A must make 2, Peter.
Must make.
In turn draw. Sweepers look quite happy with it. Just keeping it clean. As I said, fully in the 12 foot's all it needs.
I always get a bit nervous when they're hardly touching it at all, but well played. Not just in the house, but convincingly close to the pot lid. A shot that Kyle might be asked to play at a critical moment in the not too distant future. Game on then here in this opening draw of the 2025 Mercure Perth Masters. Kyle Waddell takes 2 to go within 1 of Team ISELI. Team ISELI didn't do an enormous amount wrong, 1 or 2 little mistakes, but Team Waddell really took control and played the right shots when they needed to, and we have a proper game on our hands we don't have any control over how games are going to go. But as our first featured game, I think we've picked a good one.
Absolutely. 3 ends to play, 1 shot in it. ISELI is going to have the hammer on 2 of the 3 ends if it goes with last stone.
Yeah, still got
3-2.
Still got some control, that's for sure. Does Jan ISELI. Quick update on the other games. Team Brunner are 4-1 up against Team Hoss Maligan. Team Thompson 3-1 up on Eve Stalker. Eve Stalker struggling in that opening draw there. Team Zhu are 3-0 up against Team GB. It's Aaron Thompson rink. And Team Klima are 3-1 up against Ukraine. And very, very close in the Morozumi Spitz game
5-2
as well. 5, so Morozumi just actually taking a 3 to go into the lead there over the Dutch team. 5-2. It was close.
Yep.
Maybe not so much anymore. Just one end can make all the difference. But our featured game finally poised with 3 ends remaining. 3 shots to 2 in favour of the young Swiss squad.
Long centre guard thrown up by Gavin Barr. The Swiss have come round it. Now will Waddell go for the short guard. Yep, up tight there. He's not worried about the Swiss line. He wants to cover up first and he'll worry about the red stones in the centre after that. Remember, it's 5 shots have to be played before any stones can be removed, and anything touching the centre line cannot be removed from the centre line.
Kyle Waddell travels as the 5th player with Team Mount in a lot of the international events, and talk about being in the enemy camp and getting an idea of how they play, because of course they play, yes, that's representing Team Scotland at the international level, but then when they're representing their own teams, they must be careful what they say in front of Kyle sometimes, I'm sure.
Well, I think they're all pretty good friends
Yeah.
off the ice as well, so I think it works well. And Kyle's an experienced curler, and they both have a need to work together, I think, in these occasions, and I think it works well for them.
Yeah, that's been the case for quite a few years now, hasn't it? Team easily working the brushes hard, trying to sneak one through. She's going to pop out the other side.
Pass, but it's so tight the guards have to come out the other side now. Yep. Well, we did see one thing. There was a lovely curl coming in there, so there's no reason why the Waddell team now, they've got the double guards up. They're not perfectly lined up. It's not a mile away to come in there and just either rest on the top red or tap it back half a metre would be ideal.
Mark Taylor playing second stones for Team Waddell. Gavin Barr and Craig Waddell go to work on the brooms. Maybe both are.
I think for
the
both
agitated shout there from Kyle Waddell.
Weight and line, it just
it's
touches
just
the guard. It's just too light, It's the.
Yeah.
We talked about this before earlier in the commentary period. That it's the weight and line. It's good, really good ice surface, but for the skill level, it needs both the direction and the speed. So the slower you throw the stone, the more it curls. That wasn't going to make the rings if it got past the guard there. It was coming up at best level with the other short guard. Very much advantage Switzerland here. 1 up in the scoreboard, got the hammer. Going to come into the pocket here and lie 3 reds if he gets it right.
And a big end here could put them out of sight. Team Waddell definitely have left themselves a lot to do. However, is this staying a little bit high, or is it going to curl?
Big curl at the end.
And yeah, you're right. That just those last 2 or 3 feet as the stone comes into the house, there's a big movement. Even without any sweeping, it will just keep moving. Great stuff. I mean, Paul Martin, our chief ice maker, has been here for I'm not even going to say how long he's been here because that would maybe age him slightly, but an absolute master of his craft.
He does a great job, Paul, and his
Yeah.
brother Phil, and the rest of the ice crew here. They put a lot of work and a lot of effort into it to get it right. Stones are running well, and that was just a great shot. That's the exact weight that Mark Taylor was aspiring to the last shot, and you can see how the difference was. His curled across.
It was probably 12 feet short of where it needed to be.
This is a lot wider a line this time.
It's a little bit on the heavy side too, I think, as it comes down. This is another one. It's another error there from Mark Taylor. 2 loose stones, 1 too light, 1 too heavy. Yeah.
Swiss boys make a hit and roll here or hit and check in. Either way, Waddell's in a bit of trouble here.
Craig Waddell stalking round the head looking, because he will be playing next for Team Waddell, thinking, right, I've got a bit of a removal job to do here.
He's going to have to try and drive some of the guards back, which is not easy. It's what he doesn't want to do is going to open up. He's trying to keep the cover up for himself, but
this is, a young team ISELI, but with Marco Hefti adding a good bit of experience, his experience with Team Hoseley, the top-ranked Swiss team at the moment, very, very important. So a good discussion, because if they get this right, they can sew the game up here. If they get this end right,
they're tempted to hit and roll into the centre, but if they don't make it perfectly, they could actually leave a nest for Waddell to get one draw in or anything. They want to just basically hit and clear out here. You're 1 up, you've got the hammer. If you score any sort of multiple end here at all, you're going to be 3 up in the 2 end game minimum. So they're looking at we're back to a risk and reward scenario again, Peter. I think for me, I'd be hitting this and bailing out. Don't give them the chance to get anything in there.
I would lean towards that as well. If you had to take the risk then and roll in and hope that you were nice and level, not leave that bed, great, but I don't think they need to take that chance.
Nope, hits and rolls out.
Yeah. So, make or break shot, I would say, here for Craig Waddell. Big discussion going on over what the best plan of action is.
I would just see in a minute, once you see a wider range shot, you'll see he's looking at the yellows up front there. Yep, there we go. So we can see Craig's keen to drive the left-hand yellow as we look at the screen back into the reds. And his brother definitely isn't. He wants him to come play the in-turn and tap the reds back. Both tough shots. The problem with the one that Craig's looking at, the run back, if you don't make it, you've got absolutely nothing. With Craig's shot, if you come down, tap that right hand red, and if they both move out a bit and stay locked onto it, you've got something in play. So the left hand run back is winner takes all, and the right hand side on the in-turn draw is going to give you a few more options.
And they know that this goes wrong, they're in a hole that they might not be able to escape from.
Yeah.
Played the last end very well, got back into contention, but a couple of big errors at the front end, which has put them in a real bind.
They were light an out-turn draw that Mark Taylor was throwing. That was the one that hurt them most, that blocked up that side.
And then too heavy with the second one.
Exactly.
Yeah. But this is what a good back end of a team can do, is clean up some mess sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can happen. So Craig Waddell's played well so far this game. Let's see what he's got in the locker here. Older brother Kyle holding the brush.
The positive thing is aiming at a couple of red stones. Not like he's trying to pinpoint one. Either of them would be good to hit. Sweeping for line. Looks a little bit tight for line. Is he inside the target area? That was always the risk of going for the run back. It was there was no second chance with that. You know, there's no the in-turn draw, moving things about and trying to get a stone into the play somewhere was going to be handy. Now he hasn't really left his brother with much. No, Kyle's going to come here. Supposing they don't make the shot perfectly, it's still an incredibly tough situation to try and force a one in.
Team ISELI here almost spoilt for choice. They're almost in such a comfortable position. But again, it only takes one shot. But
it's almost tempting here, Peter, to come right on top of that left-hand red at the top there and move it back 10, 15 centimetres and say, okay, Waddell, you're 1 down the scoreboard, you're facing 4, you can't see any of them. Good luck.
Yeah, have fun with that. Yeah, I think that's what they've called actually. Judging by that last tap of the brush from Marco Hefti, who's in the head, this is Jan ISELI's second stone. And
Lauder's rotation on it, the modern way of throwing the stone, which keeps it going straighter for longer, and then once it does start to lose its weight, it should curl quite a lot. But this looks a little bit heavier.
It's heavy and
high.
high.
Not want to bounce off this.
that was perhaps the last thing that Jan ISELI might have wanted to do there, because this has just left a door wide open for Team Waddell to come in and finally make a play. You're shaking your head, David. That was the last thing you should have done there.
If you're Team Waddell, that is Christmas, birthdays, New Year, all rolled into one.
Yeah.
I was thinking this game may be a handshake. Now we've got a great opportunity to steal one here. Comes down a quiet way, hits the inside of the red, goes across, checks across, taps other red to the side, all covered up.
Poor old Jan ISELI, head in his hands at the back of the head.
Craig's still going to make this. Not an easy shot. It's not a gimme, but it's an opportunity. He looked like he was in dire straits before that shot was played. Now he's got to get out a jail free card potentially.
These are the chances you will not get given very often.
Yeah.
They're working it very hard with the brooms. Then
has he got past the guards?
Big shout from Craig Waddell. They've just nicked past.
Yep. Good shot.
And now they're in the ball game.
They're at least back. They've dampened the flames of the fire. They're only line one against. It's impossible to remove that. The angle it's sitting at, I think we'll see the guards on the longer shot. When we pan out to that, you'll find the guards are covering the yellow one up there. You see that? The yellows are protected. Can he see enough of the outside of the red one to hit it thin across the face? It's very, very thin to get that. You could actually, that would be a very high risk one, because if you were to catch the yellow guard or be wide and thin it, you'd be in trouble either way.
Jan ISELI's got to put that shot behind him. I'm sure he's reeling after that.
Yeah.
It could not have ended up worse. Would have been better chucking it into the barrier.
Rose Ed.
Yeah, but these things happen.
It's happened. It's done. It's not coming back. Peter.
No, you're not getting it back.
That's part of history. It's down.
Yeah, better keep it there. I think.
Exactly. At least until they get back to the hotel to discuss it at night.
I have a feeling it may be discussed. It's how it will be discussed. Will depend on the result of this game.
The trouble is, there could only be 3 boys in discussion. One may not be there.
Yes.
Anyway, going to play the out turn draw, trying to come in here to block Waddell's path in.
Off the guard.
Tight for line, but he's rolled back out. Probably done enough to block it, has he? Very, very tight. It's hard to say if that's going to get enough curl to come round that and tap the yellow one back.
I think it's a pretty strong shot, I would say. I think it might not be 100%, but I think pretty good effort there, and very good for Jan ISELI there to just hold his nerve and put that previous shot behind him and go, okay, it's definitely going to make Team Waddell think about this, and Kyle Waddell played the perfect draw weight in the previous end,
Yep.
even though he didn't need to, but he did. So he knows he's got that in the pocket, and he's just got to nudge it.
He's saying to his brother, if I don't nudge it, even if I come past it, you could draw into the back one there and lock onto that again for another second shot. Very, very hard to see how you can get first shot unless it can curl just enough to.
But I think this is a sweeper's shot. Once you're past the guard, it's just get onto it hard and do the rest. It's definitely on to bounce this yellow back onto the red that's sitting short, and then looking very good for
I think the problem is
a steal.
I think it's possible to get to it, but it's getting to it with enough weight to move it back.
Good
and touch
point.
the
Yeah,
red.
very good point.
It's a lot of curl once it passes that guard, because I mean the guard is a full stone's width outside the target.
Yeah.
There's big curl and ice, whether it's as big as this, and again, as you said about the sweepers, if they can get onto this and make it curl, it may be possible.
Yeah, and carry it those last few feet, which could be critical. But that being said, I think by that point, it means Jan ISELI played the guard well.
Yeah, he got a good result. I think it was a little bit tight for line, it just touched the yellow and bounced off, and
Got a
that
bit
bounce
lucky.
off was, well,
He was maybe due one after that.
maybe I think so. He was. I'm sure his teammates would be glad to see that one settling down after the previous one. But
Yeah. And you got to think the nerves will be there a little bit for Jan ISELI, because coming here first round against Team Waddell and taking it would be a scalp. It really would be. Top 15 ranked team in the world. Looks a very heavy. They are going for the back one here. Both the sweepers working it hard. They're not even taking on their own yellow. It's very heavy, and it's going to be too heavy, I think.
just a fraction heavy, that metre extra running on
and
there.
that meant that the sweepers couldn't do their magic with it. Just a couple of feet too much.
Thing was, if it had been left short there, Peter, it gave him a chance to use it the second time. Once it goes behind, it's gone. You're not getting it back again.
Yeah, you can't bounce a stone backwards. Even someone of Kyle Waddell's ability can't do that. But
the problem he's got is he doesn't have a lot to work with his next shot. If it had been left short, even short of the rings, you may have been left with an opportunity to run it back. But now you've got nothing to work with. But from Waddell's point of view, if he can keep easily to one shot here, he's only 2 down in the 2 end game. Gets his 2, steals a 1. He's got the hammer back. What he can't afford to do is lose a multiple score. On the last shot, he does have a chance of the in-turn tap on the red to lie 2. That's the other shot he has for his next one.
interesting call here from Team ISELI. They look like they tapped for a guard. The only thing with that is that you potentially leave the opportunity for Kyle Waddell to use that stone to drive onto their own yellow and sit short. This is an odd call for me.
Unless he just gets his guard inside the line of the red, so there's no angle on for that shot.
I think that's the goal, isn't it? But that's a fine margin. But
or leaves it incredibly long, just over the hog line would be good, because I think on the next shot for Marco Hefty is to come down the in-turn and just nudge the red up to lie 2, which would be a big blow for Waddell. It would put him back 3 down again. Let's see what he does here. I agree with you. I think he's going for a guard out here to block the route in.
so Marco Hefty then anchoring this really impressive ISELI rink. It's looking a bit on the high side here.
Pretty good, I think. Peter is going to be okay. Will it be enough to tempt Waddell to try this shot now? Or is he going to say... Because Waddell could do the run back, or he could put a blocker out here and stop him tapping for 2 and say, I'm just going to give you 1.
The one thing is for sure, for this is there is not a straightforward shot here by any stretch of the imagination for Kyle Waddell. So after that really big mistake from Jan ISELI. It's both with ISELI's second stone and Hefty's first stone, they've got back a little bit of control, which is exactly what they're looking for. Now there's a big discussion in the Waddell camp. What do we do here? And there are options, but all of them are high tariff, high difficulty shots.
One thing that does emphasise is that I remember from my coaching days that the simple shot played right is so much easier making these circus shots, and it came back to Mark Taylor's guard, light and tight. That's a pretty easy shot. It's a tee-high draw. You make that, your skip doesn't have to play these sort of shots. In the last few ends we're seeing the same. It's just a couple of, the Waddell team have had a couple of more mistakes on the way through, and it's put Kyle under a lot of pressure himself to make circus shots.
Yeah.
This is not a circus shot. It's far from impossible. It's got a high degree of difficulty, and the problem is if he doesn't get this right, it could lead to a multiple score for the Swiss boys. So
I would say this is a grandstand shot. I think that's one down from circus.
if you leave that there, where it is the one beside Craig's brush, there's not a lot you can do on that side, the Swiss boys. Put a blocker out on the right hand side as you look at it, it stops them tapping up for two, or you say I'm going to go for it. I mean, if he makes this, fine, he's probably going to score one.
This was why I thought that Hefty's decision to play put the guard there was always there was a risk involved, because it does open up the shot that it looks like Team Waddell are discussing now. But he's got to get past the guard at exactly the right. Well, he's maybe got a bit more room to work with there, but then to catch the angle right and just nudge his own yellow in. It's a very, very important shot here. If it's a miss, could see Team ISELI out of sight. If he makes it, all of a sudden they go into the next end with their shoulders back, their heads up, and Team ISELI scratching their head going, we had that game in our pocket and we've chucked it away. Fascinating stuff. This is what the Perth Masters is all about. What a way to kick off our live coverage. We've got live coverage from a featured game in each of the draws all the way through until Monday, including the finals, of course, with a star-studded cast of expert commentators, and also me.
And me.
I think you qualify for that.
Our viewers are drawing the short straw today. So what we're trying to do here is, we're the warm-up act for the real deal later on. So we're going to try and run this red stone back into the yellow, move it up a couple of feet, and then tap the red back to lie short. If he can make it, it will make it very, very difficult for the Swiss to score. The problem being he's probably aiming at a 2 millimetre target area here from 42 metres away.
When you put it like that, you wonder why any of us bother. But at this level,
I'll get an idea straight away. There's no sweeping. Can't be far away. Is it drawing enough? Oh, unlucky.
Oh. No.
Well,
No.
how many did he expose there? That was a bit more weight than I thought it'd be coming. I thought he'd just be playing a gentle weight.
My.
Swiss think the reds are lying one.
The thing is, though,
It would
if you
certainly
look
come,
at it from the long angle,
certainly
what
come
is
to a
possible
measure.
here? When you look at it at this point, you think, oh, there's shots on, but where are the guards? That's the question. In the long shot, what can they do?
There we go, we can see it now. So he's
Yeah.
got the in turn coming around that shortest yellow guard to tap that red quarter stone. Craig doesn't look too enthusiastic. He's saying it's him, but that could well be more hope than expectation. See, the Swiss boys come round here, tap that red up half a stone, and they just have to move that yellow 20 centimetres to get a big score. Move it to 1 centimetre probably for a 2.
And Marco Hefty couldn't wait to get up to make the call and head up to the hack, and that decisiveness, that clarity of thought is vitally important here. They know exactly there's one shot here to play.
He's got a lot of ice to tap. Maybe he's just going for a dead draw. He's going to draw a tee high here, but
Possibly. That's a more challenging shot, I would wager, but let's see. The brushes are on it. It As look out on the high side, it's going to have to be the dead draw because it's too wide at the moment.
Starting to move down now.
Needs to stop.
What's the weight like? Has he overswept it? No.
It's at least one then for Team ISELI. That is some shot there from Marco Hefty. I mean, the calmness under pressure there. I think the measure will be coming out here somehow.
You made a very valid point though, Peter. He didn't even wait for a discussion. He wasn't interested in looking at it. He had one shot to make, the draw. Everything else is a bonus after that. He makes his one shot for a start, which he made perfectly there. It does look yellow from the overhead screen, but we'll have to wait and see.
It can sometimes be deceptive. Who would want to be an umpire in this situation with all the 8 angry curlers right around?
Colin Melrose going to have a big measure to make here.
Okay. Craig Waddell
always keen.
Right on top.
He'd like the two players to see what's happening so they can say he should.
So I'm not sure what the call was there.
He should normally point to the winning stone and pull the non-winning stone away is the official way of doing it.
They'll know. We'll find out in a minute.
We'll pass on our thoughts to Colin afterwards.
Well, yeah, that's up to you, David. well, while they have a quick chat as we go into the business end of this game with 2 ends remaining, Team Klima have rocketed into a big lead. They're 6-2 up then against Team Ukraine in the Netherlands-Japanese encounter. That is still going very much the way of Team Morozumi, who've been to the Masters here many times. They're 6-2 up at the moment. Team GB Universities, they are 6-1 down at the moment to Team Zhu of China. Team Ramsfell are tied up with Team Toczek, so Team Toczek have fought back to 5-all. Team Brunner lead 5-2 over Team Host Milligan, and it's 3 apiece in the Thompson-Stalker battle on sheet A. So there are games going into the final couple of ends that could go either way.
Very close. Oh. Yep. The local Perth team doing well. Team Thompson holding Stalker in a tight game across there on sheet A.
Team Thompson with Airla White Curling Club superstar Callum Kinnear in the head.
Yep. One of your multi-million-pound contracts, isn't he? One of your big signings.
No, we got him on a lifetime earnings deal. Actually, we got him cheap. Yeah, Callum's an excellent player. I played in the Super League with him for many years with Warwick Smith, and I think every Wednesday night he got better by about 10% every time, and it was great to see his development.
Great curler. One of the guys who unfortunately has a full-time job as well, and he curls recreationally as opposed to on the professional circuit. It's a huge gamble or a huge step to take, rather than a gamble, huge step to take to go full-time. Along with the Muirheads and some of the Smiths, these sort of guys are all top-class curlers, but also have day jobs as well. So as we enter the penultimate end, the 7th end of the game.
So it was just one then for Team ISELI, so it's 4-2 to ISELI with Team Waddell with the last stone. 2 ends to go. So Team Waddell again chasing.
Gone for the same setup again. He's got his left-hand corner guard. That's how he managed to manufacture 2 the last time.
And it worked.
The way these reds are lying, he's going to throw up another corner guard this time because they're just a little bit difficult to remove. If he puts one in behind that yellow corner guard just now, Peter, it'd be hard to remove it out of there. Remove the red, with the yellow in behind, so he's going to try another setup here.
And then last time they did that, there was a fantastic shot from Max Vince.
I know.
Changed the complexion of the end.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take that one out of play. Kyle Waddell just putting his brush there to give the sweepers no doubt where he would like the stone to finish. Try and get them as level as possible so they can't both be removed at the same time. So there were 2 great guards there from Gavin Barr.
Perfect.
comes from another curling dynasty in Edinburgh. And Gavin, another curler who balances curling at the top level with job as a mechanical engineer. And that kind of used to be the norm not all that long ago, didn't it?
Absolutely,
To play
yeah.
international curling and work at the same time. But to be really honest, that the level that the top international players are at now, they deserve to be full-time professionals.
It's hard. It's hard for the amateur guys or the part-time guys to compete against the full. It's like any sport, really. It doesn't really matter what you're doing, is it? If it's football, rugby, golf, curling, whatever the pros against amateurs is never an easy one.
Certainly in golf, the gap between a professional and amateur has closed a lot, because if you want to compete at the top level of amateur, you've got to play full-time. The only difference is you're not being paid.
We're seeing the same here in curling, but not quite the same extent. You know, it's not a perfect setup by ISELI's team here. He's left a bit of a nest to draw into, although I think they're trying to come right around their own yellow corner guard.
Critical shot for Mark Taylor. Two loose stones in the previous end. This is a really important stone for him. Get back on form, get back in the groove, put that bad end behind. Craig Waddell with a kind of chopping motion across that's to try and get the stone to curl.
It definitely is. It's a nice shot, a little deep, but it may actually have come right out the other side. It's curled so much. I think that was a bit of a misjudgment there.
Yeah, and that was a sweeping error rather than a throwing error. Mind you, ISELI's decided.
He's hoping to get the yellow onto yellow if he can, but if not, just put straightforward peel. At some point, Kyle Waddell's going to be forced to make a freeze into the pocket of these reds, and then hope that ISELI goes after it and scatters them round, because right now he's not looking too well set up.
Call from the hack, just suggesting a different course of action here for Jan ISELI, and he's gone okay.
And after Jan's last end, he's not much of in a position to negotiate with his teammates. Like he has to go with the flow just now, still licking his wounds after his first one to the last end. But his skip certainly pulled out a fantastic shot. The score of 1, drawing the edge of the button. Yeah,
Marco Hefti is definitely he's the leader in many ways. He's throwing those anchorman stones, but he's clearly leading this young team.
Yeah, he's in the MVP bracket just now.
So coming right down a path that I don't think anybody's been yet, and removing that stone. So yeah, just a little sweeping error there from Team Waddell, which allowed that stone to be accessed.
Just these 2 or 3 shots during the game, not a lot, 2 or 3 that have been really, really heavily punished.
Yeah, that 3 is could haunt them now. Mark Taylor is going to try and make a play here, or are they? No, same shot again.
But we knew how much the last one curled at the end, so we have to make sure they get the line right this time. Don't want it coming out the other side. Looks pretty good.
Much more difficult to remove that, I would say. Or is it?
Can see it again, but not enough, I don't think. We'll be going for the run back.
So the run back idea being here, run the top yellow into the yellow in the house, try and spring, get rid of them both?
Correct.
Okay.
And it could roll across and get close to the centre line. I think the angle of the yellow is right. It wouldn't be far off getting to the centre line, which will be to his advantage to protect the in-turn draw on the reds.
So a big opportunity for redemption here for Jan ISELI.
Sounds like it's close. Ooh. Now he's left the centre corner guard and he's left the yellow in play, so Waddell, you have a chance.
You know, and if Team Waddell grab a 2 here, all of a sudden they're all square going into the last end, albeit with Waddell without the hammer, without the last stone. But
Yeah, the good news for ISELI is he moved that yellow into open play, so it's open to be attacked, and they're trying to draw in a yellow into the pocket of the reds here, just nestle right into the pot, lock it on. If he comes up short, he'll leave a double. If he comes up tight, he'll leave a double, if it draws past the target area, so he's got to try and get this absolutely perfect.
Craig Waddell's been curling pretty strong percentages so far. Delivers the stone with it in turn. He's holding his palm up just to
See it coming in here now, we've got the line to see it. It looks pretty good. In fact, it looks very good. Nice shot.
Yeah, it's tucked up in the bed with a cup of warm cocoa, that yellow stone.
The good news for Waddell is there's a triple on. He drives that yellow right in the nose. It'll ping the first one to the left, it'll come through and take the other 2 reds out as well. They all go.
Marco Hefty knows it as well. He's going, oh dear. But
He'll not be too wide if he hits this and comes across. He might even manage to make contact with the side of the red on the centre line and just change the angles a little bit. Yeah, he will do. Look at the angles there. Hits half this yellow, rolls across to the left, touches the reds and realigns them. It would then mean that Waddell couldn't take all 3 out at once.
so a very important stone here then for Jan ISELI.
Just on the nose. Not really not a problem, but an opportunity missed perhaps.
Interestingly, Kyle Waddell leaving that one tucked in the bed, just leaving it alone. Trying to.
Same shot again, come right down on top and lay on top of that yellow and increase the pressure on ISELI. If you can just get the angles right here. Just try to run this, tap this yellow, red one back.
Big shout from the. Is he going to wreck on the guard? Oh man.
That's what I thought he was trying to do, Peter. Not that way.
That's a stroke of fortune that sometimes you need at times like these. Well, stroke of fortune might be mild. Well,
I thought he was trying for that shot with ice was being given to put the intern to come on top of that again. But he wasn't. He actually called to hit the red on the right hand side and tap it back, which would be an extraordinarily difficult shot.
So big discussion here then for Team ISELI.
You talk about a break in the game. That was certainly a big break there, Peter. This is not easy for ISELI here. What does he do? Does he perhaps coming up at lightweight and just tapping the reds to split them up a bit, get a bit of distance to take the angles off? But anything with weight on, it's just going to remove reds from play.
Yep. The reds are hugely vulnerable. Team ISELI, occasionally you get rubs that go your way and some that don't, but that definitely went the way of Team Waddell. The shot was nowhere near where it was supposed to be, and that can happen from time to time. They tend to even out over time as well.
They do.
Well,
it looks like he could take the top yellow out hitting half of it, but you also probably, if not take 2 reds out, at least one of them would go out as well.
I think Jan easily saying, get ready for this one, guys.
Yeah.
Get ready to catch some granite. Although both games either side are finished, or one hasn't run and the other one is finished, so there's definitely room. If there's granite goes everywhere here, we've got room to play with. So, Marco Hefty's been asked on several occasions to bring out the shot when he needs to, and he's delivered nearly every time, playing a strong weight here to try and get the stones back, looking in the favour of Team ISELI again.
It's close to what he was looking for. I don't know what he's going to do. It's a good shot, very good shot. He's just did what we said there. He's broken the pack up at the back. He's given it a bit of room. It makes it difficult now for Waddell to score a multiple end. That was an excellent shot.
You called it right. MVP, most valuable player. Marco Hefty is he's the most valuable player and the secret weapon all at once. That was an exceptional shot. They looked in big pain there, and just one shot. It's the difference now. Team Waddell have got to try and manufacture something.
Marco will see that some justice after Craig Waddell's shot, which was slightly off the edge.
Possibly, yes, but there was absolutely zero fortune involved in that.
No,
I
that
don't
was
think
a great shot.
Just how they wanted to play it. Looked at the angles right.
Good call and well played.
The only issue might be for Team ISELI is that Marco Hosley calls up Marco Hefty and asks for him back. That's the way he's playing.
Been a good game.
If Team ISELI carry this form through, they can go deep into this tournament. They're really showing all the attributes they need to. And in their group, who have they got in their group? This one here, Section C.
Section with Lucas Klima from Czech Republic and Ukraine, and a local favourite, Glenn Muirhead. Tough section. Easily Waddell, Muirhead all in the same group.
One of them's going home.
One of them's going to go home, sadly, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much every group's got a potential 3 qualifiers, which means that somebody's always going to be hurt in every group.
A long discussion going on here between Kyle and Craig Waddell. Two brothers separated by just 2 years. Both started curling at 8 years old, so they know each other inside and out. They've discussed tens of thousands of shots like this. I've been in this situation so many times, but they've both got to be on the same page here. The last thing the skip needs is feeling like the rest of the team aren't on board with the call. Yeah. They've all got to be on board with it, or at least pretend. The team
have really got to also lean towards what Kyle Waddell favours, apart from the fact that Skip is the guy throwing the stone.
Yes.
If he's sitting in the hack making a shot that his heart's not into it, he's not thinking this is the right shot, the chances of making it right are very, very slim.
Mm-hmm.
However, if it's something that I think that's the right shot. Try and come around that yellow, just get under cover a little bit. Halfway between the yellow and the red would be ideal. Just right into that pocket there. Freeze onto the corner of that one. It may leave the run back yellow, but there's every chance someone's going to lock up and stay and give him a chance of a 2. But degree of difficulty, 11 out of 10 on this one. This is a really tough shot. He's got a corner freeze and come around the yellow that's about a metre in front of it.
So, Kyle Waddell curled at the very top level for many, many years. And this is one of these shots that, as a skip, you've got to pull off. Here it comes.
Had a good year, the Team Waddell guys. Had a final, a semi-final and 4 quarter-finals, so they've been in every event. Has he got the weight to get here this time? Needs to get past that yellow.
Big effort required
good
from
line
the
if he can
sweepers.
get the weight. Is it past the yellow? Not quite. Half a metre on that, Peter. It was absolutely perfect.
It's a game of fine margins, but could that be decisive? Well, it really depends what Marco Hefti does here. Unlike the last end, quite a lot more discussion going on here between Hefti and ISELI. To be fair, it's a little bit more complex decision, I think, than the previous end. But again, I think that with Hefti's experience, if he says this is what we're doing, the younger guys in the team are going to be more think, okay, yeah, you're in charge. If they get this right, they can put Team Waddell in a big bind, which could win them this opening game and get their 2025 Mercure Perth Masters campaign off in the best possible way.
So we can see in the overhead that the yellows are lying third and fourth shot. What he's got to be careful with here, he's talking about drawing into this pocket. That's fine, but you have to be very cautious not to set up a triple takeout. And there's one thing, Kyle Waddell will be well capable of moving all three stones at once. If he comes slightly wide or slightly too far or rubs off the yellows, it would leave the potential, depending on the angles, for a triple takeout.
So Hefti in the hack then. He's been the standout player on both rinks, I would say. He's been the difference. What can he come up with here?
Playing the intern draw, they're sweeping hard for line now. They think it needs it for line. Weight looks okay. Line's good now.
The last bit of chop with the brush to try and bring it over.
There ain't no triple on there, I'm afraid.
The only thing
Result, just drew enough and came far enough. If it had been, 10 centimetres less, Waddell could come down, hit it, and taken a double, and then checked across and tapped the other one. But I don't think there's a shot on there for that because the yellows are almost. Unless you can drive the outside yellow.
There is a shot for a 2 here. I think if you hit the left-hand yellow as we look at it, right on the nose at a very, very hefty weight, but you've got to be millimetre perfect.
Yep.
Clip the red on the left-hand side, and then it springs. Then the shooter springs into the two together. It's a big shot, but there is just about the possibility of a 2. But it's a huge ask. But it's as we said, but earlier, if the angles are physically possible, it can be done.
It's just whether they can get that left-hand yellow past the right-hand yellow at the right angle.
Yes.
So it might just be sitting a millimetre too far. But yeah, it's tough. But the good thing is he hasn't got any other shot. So it's this or go home.
Well, that does help the decision. Actually, there's not really a great deal of other, because you can't just hit the 2 that are sitting over the pot lid. That you're not going to be able to move both of them and hang around. But
if you nose hit them, you would get your 1. But he's looking for more than that here. Because 1 puts you 1 down without coming home.
Even then, I think you would and that's not a straightforward shot either. The shot for 1 on the right hand side is not straightforward either.
No.
I think you've got to go for this. It's a calculated risk.
Yep.
Kyle Waddell's played some excellent shots at this weight so far. He needs 1 now.
Come a big weight. Can he get the angles right? Gets 1,
Hard lines.
Lucky.
Hard lines.
Good
It was a
effort.
very strong effort, but it's a 1 to
Needed
Team
it.
ISELI.
A little bit underswept. To get that a little bit wider, you get it thinner coming back in. I think it was possible.
It was possible, for sure
Yeah.
it was possible, but
yeah.
it was just so difficult.
Yeah.
And Team ISELI then, they go into a 3-shot lead going into the final end. This is ISELI's to lose now, and Team Waddell's to chase, and it's a big chase. It's a big ask to get 3 in this final end. It would take a few big errors from Team ISELI, but not out of the question. But Team ISELI in control here in the final end.
The way the ends have been going, we expect there'll be opportunities, because every end there has been opportunities. It's whether they can capitalise on the off chance. But when you're coming home 3 up, it's a huge advantage. Looking to go top 4 foot with his first stone. Skip coming out to help, a little bit light. That's not what he was hoping for there.
Waddell unsurprisingly ignoring that Team ISELI stone. Just going to go for a corner guard, try and get something set up, try to somehow build an end of 3 shots or more. Not an easy task at all. Now, do we go if Team Waddell do score a 3? Do we go to an extra end?
One extra end.
One extra end. Okay.
And if that was to be a stalemate or a blank end, then it's a 1 shot, draw the button to decide the winners.
So we will have a winner. We'll
have a winner regardless. Yep.
Someone will come up the stairs to the bar here smiling. Others will not.
And the other problem for Waddell is they've got to go against the MVP in the last couple of stones, when
who seems to be able
Marco
to make
Hefty
almost anything happen.
We haven't been keeping our percentages, Peter, but he can't be far off being 100%, I would think.
Certainly in the 90s, I would say. Perhaps their coach will be able to tell us, probably quite proudly so. Following a very similar pattern to the previous ends, pretty much this entire second half of the game, one in the house, then another.
Yep.
And actually, it's really
2
worked very effectively.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, it's worked very effectively, and they've had that luxury to be able to play that way, and it's worked well.
Craig Waddell's missed it the last time when he was trying to play the in-turn tap. Didn't work out for them. That's just been every end they've had a problem with. So 1 stone here, 1 stone there.
Mm-hmm.
Good setup again. Guards are even, pretty level.
Yeah. This is going to be frustrating for the Waddell rink. They're here to win, nothing else, and this is probably not what they expected. Certainly not what they wanted.
No, and whilst ISELI's team are a well-travelled, experienced young team, they were not in the. They were not favourites in the game, that's for certain.
No.
They've done it again. They've left that pocket, which is not a great setup really for ISELI. But disappointed. I'm not quite sure why when you're 3 up, you want to put a 3rd stone in to give a pocket there. You could have discarded that stone, thrown it through the back, and keep it a bit more simple.
They're all north of the 4 foot, let alone north of the tee. So at least it does give them stuff
to work with.
Yeah. So that perhaps that's the thinking. They go, as long as there's enough red granite in there, then that makes it very difficult for Waddell to come in and score 3.
Safety in numbers, Peter.
Exactly. Yeah.
So he's looking to either draw into this pocket or tap one of the reds back. But I think drawing the pocket's not bad for the first time out. Just draw right into there. If he draws around the corner guards, all they do is peel the corner guard. Don't have to worry about the one in the house, because the 3 up single peels, and Waddell's still facing the three reds. So he has to make a play in this for a start. Hopes that ISELI will then blast some of them open to leave him lying, which I don't think he'll be daft enough to do that. He'll just pick away at the single guards himself.
Yeah, they've got no choice but to be aggressive here, I think, Team Waddell.
Yep.
And this is one of these situations where if they do somehow come out of this, these could be the stories that they look back on Monday evening and go, well, without that bank job, we wouldn't have been where we are. So sometimes these are the early chapters of an emerging story. So
Kyle indicated to Mark to make sure you're up here. I mean, even if you tap them back and lie in front of the Reds, not a disaster.
very important from the skeptics to give those little. It's encouragement and instruction
Absolutely.
at once, isn't it?
Yeah,
Just say, "Come on, you can be here."
He's basically saying the fault is to be short. That's okay. That's fine.
But it's positive language. It's rather than saying "Don't be short." It's
Exactly.
You can be long if you like. It's the same statement, but it's totally different language.
It's the way it's presented, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's the presentation makes
Yeah.
the difference.
Yeah.
You can tell a lot when you're playing against teams as well if they're conversing in a very level, even way. It's always trickier to play against, whereas if they're excited, high, isn't the case. The higher you go, the lower you go. It's the guy who flat planes the middle is tricky to play against.
Well, again, you use Team Out as a reference.
Yeah.
You listen to the way you watch them in a big international game. You listen to the way they communicate. They are just one solid unit, aren't they?
Yep.
They know each other inside and out.
Good shot. Opened up, took the corner guard off as we were predicting. Now trying to come right round the yellow guard this time. We'll probably want to be T-line plus, so when they hit these reds, they can go across the face of the one they're putting in the house now. Good effort. Good shot.
Just starting to build the stones in play in the right kind of places. And the team easily now wanting to try and clear up a bit and keep things clean and simple. Take off this corner guard that's covering that stone that's just been played. So first stone of the end then for
Jan
Jan
Easley
Easley.
clearing the guards off here. Full weight. Ooh.
Well, a complete miss from Jan Easley. Are the nerves coming in a little now? Something you don't see that often. We have seen it once so far this game, where one of the team Waddell stones came straight through and didn't hit anything. And Jan Easley, what should be a meat and drink shot at clearing a guard off, that gives Team Waddell now an opportunity. This game is not over. You would think with 3 down going down the last end, it was nearly over, but
What's the saying? It's never over till it's over. Is that right?
It's over, yes. It's just been a few.
The problem for Waddell is he's got 3 reds lying against him, and to play the run back, yellow, red, reds, too early for that. Even when he has to do that at some point, is it going to jam on that yellow that's behind the guards? That's why I was saying earlier on, it was important to get that yellow back another half metre further back, so the reds, when he does play the eventual run backs, they could go over the top. Right now, they'll be delighted to even have a look at a chance to win this one. Sweeping hard for line and for weight. Needs to get it back into the house.
Sneaks past the guard. Oh, and just grabbing a piece there.
So it's a counter.
Now,
Easily can play the scoreboard here. He knows he can afford to lose a 2. A 2 is not an issue to him. He does not want to get involved in the next trend, having been up all the way through the game.
No.
Marco Hefty's first instinct, he tapped the ice to indicate an outturn draw into the pocket. But now they're looking at the potential for a run back, yellow onto yellow.
You've got to think it's that you got to go for the next. Jan ISELI's got to play the stone.
Yep.
And he's made the call what he wants, and off he goes. That's so
Take the
it's a
shot.
hit and roll across.
Yep.
It's certainly the most simple shot. Not to say it's easy, but it's the most in terms straightforward in terms of thought process. Or change of thought. Or Marco Hefty.
Is this the call? Is he going to pick this yellow across the face?
Right.
This is a little surprising to me.
That was a late change there.
No, he's just
Oh, no,
getting
he's
nice.
playing the
He's
draw.
definitely playing the draw. Yep.
Yeah.
Trying to draw into the back pocket.
I was thinking, this
I
is
thought we
aggressive.
missed something there. Lost a bit in translation.
Yes.
By drawing into here, again, he's helping for two reasons. A, he'll lie three or four shots, but when Waddell goes for the run back, yellow onto these two reds, it's more catchers.
Mr. Carl, big time.
He's okay. Scarp lies 4. So he tries to run this back. He lost the chance of leaving a catcher. If he'd sat in front of that yellow stone, drawn more, then the reds were coming right into it.
The only thing is, though, is if you're maybe a negative way to think, but when you're trying to close off a game, you're 3 up, and then all of a sudden your opponent's granite just starts to turn up just all over just in around and about the rings, and you're thinking,
just at the wrong time.
Just at the wrong time, thinking, one wrong step here, and it could bite us. It's amazing how quickly an end can get away from you too.
We've seen that a lot in this game, haven't we? During the game, because one team looks like they're in control, next minute
They're
it
not.
goes the exact opposite again.
Because I think there's a triple on, at least. Triple on, it's tight, but I think there is a triple on here for Team Waddell to come in and hit the red that's just half covering the 8 foot, spring across, hit the red on the centre line, they both go, and then potentially then sit nice on top of the 4, but certainly a double at least anyway.
Definitely a double. I'm not sure about the triple. Might be slightly difficult.
Triple might be difficult.
So which time that he starts to make a move to open this up, so you can play the run back, yellow onto reds. That makes it pretty easy for Marco Hefty to follow. He's looking to make something that's more difficult to follow. I think that the double you're talking about, hitting the left-hand one onto the one in the centre line, makes it pretty much straightforward bang nose double coming straight back at you.
Yeah.
I think he's right. I think he's trying to tap this back and roll a shooter across the right-hand side below cover. There's 2 guards out there. There they are. The 2 guards on that right-hand side.
The shot might be on, but Team Waddell have to play this, of course. You get so used to the percentages being so high, you almost assume they're going to pull every shot off. But controlled weight then from Craig Waddell, former Scottish champion, along with his brother Kyle. Big shout for sweeping, almost anguish behind it.
The yellow roll across a bit. Pretty good shot. Pretty good shot. Trouble is, but there's nothing he could do. He did what he was asked for there. It's trying to get them under covers the problem, so you can't let the Swiss boys get open hits.
I think there's a shot here for Team ISELI to get rid of at least 2 yellows, if not 3 of them, and then all of a sudden it comes down to basic mathematics in terms of how many shots they need in.
You're short of numbers.
You're short of stones. You need 3 stones in play, of course, at least, let alone have them closest to the middle. So, and they've got their star player Marco Hefty already in the hack. He knows. He doesn't waste any time, does he? So, right, this is the shot, guys. No more discussion.
I've liked his positivity.
Yeah.
He just puts a brush and he goes back and play. Then before a couple of ends ago, the rest of the guys were looking at the shot. He was in the hack and ready to go. Playing in turn. Trying to hit this yellow and check across the side and lie against the other one. On off, it sounds good. Beautiful result. Rolls and chips it across.
Yeah, making life difficult. But
Waddell's got 2 stones to come. Marco Hefty has 1.
the kipper's been thrown onto the next sheet. Luckily, everyone else is already up and finished again.
He's trying to look at ways where he'll be thinking ahead to try and leave a scenario where it's not possible for Marco Hefty to get a double.
So on the other sheets, a win for Morozumi over Spitz, a win for Klima against Ukraine. Team Zhu, the Chinese team, win over GB Universities. Tochik and Ramsfeld in a very close battle at the moment. Win very close between Brunner and Hosmeligan, not sure the result there. And Stocker and Thompson still locked in battle, so still plenty going on. You can keep an eye on the line scores, curlingzone.com, perthmasters.com as well. But we focus on our featured game, a critical moment. Team Waddell 3 shots down in this last end, but they do have hammer and they do have granite in the house. But can they manufacture it? Can they get into the position to try and score a 3?
Trying a big double here. Oh, it doesn't quite pull the double off, doesn't get anything, slides through between the stones. Not good.
No, that's probably not going to do it.
Could just about be it as far as the game's concerned.
And for
if Hefty doesn't throw a stone, it's hard to see how they would. There's potentially a triple on, I guess, to catch the first one, top one off centre on the right, 2 or 3 centimetres, get across, catch the one in the middle, drive on the back one. But we're starting to grasp at straws if you're a Waddell supporter here.
Hefty heading back to the hack. He's made his mind up again. He's definitely the leader of this. It might be Team ISELI, his name above the door, but there's no doubt who's the team leader here.
They've been impressive, Peter. You said earlier on they could go deep in this competition.
Definitely, I fully believe that.
And there's no reason why they can't. They've all played well. Jan had 1 shot himself that just landed in the wrong place. He was about half a metre heavier in the draw, but apart from that, they've all had a pretty solid game.
They kept the tactics tight. They haven't done anything too complicated, anything too crazy, just keeping it nice and under control. So last stone then for Marco Hefty, 1 remaining for Team Waddell. The thinnest of opportunity left for them to score a 3. I don't know how they can do it, but it's never over till it is. But
it's going to have to be a quadruple takeout, whatever it is, if there's any angles available to him at all. But I think that's pretty much it.
Perfect stone there, perfect stone from Marco Hefty.
I don't think there's an angle, even with the most vivid imagination, it's hard to see how you can take.
Yeah, in fact, it's a handshake actually. Kyle Waddell conceding then, so an upset in the opening draw here of the 2025 Mercure Perth Masters. A fantastic win for Team ISELI then over Team Waddell, a top 15 ranked team in the world. Team ISELI finished outside the top 60 in the world last year, but they have put their stake in the ground as a real contender here in this 2025 edition, the 49th edition of the Mercure Perth Masters. The live coverage does not stop. We have 2 more games of live curling for you coming up at 4:30 in what are we now, about 45 minutes time, and our featured game now. Do we know what? Can you remember what our featured game is? I cannot remember what our featured game is. You've got the rota there.
We will
David
give you that
Hay,
just
drum
very,
roll.
very shortly.
Yes.
Shortly.
Who have
This
we got?
afternoon we are going to be looking at Henderson against Postaki.
And that is with Alan Chalmers and Mary Milne, who will take you through the action there. That's live in just over 45 minutes' time. So from us all here at the Dewar Centre, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you shortly. Goodbye.